Hello, delightful humans. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Delightfully Dysfunctional. And before I let you hear the episode that we recorded, I just wanted to let you know that unfortunately the audio on this isn't quite up to my standards, but I still really wanted you to hear it because it's our first episode with James now that he is a Tennessee boy. So I really hope you enjoy, and moving forward, that will be some tweaks that I fix as I keep learning some of the technical things when it comes to recording a podcast. I appreciate you all so very much. Please continue listening, liking, subscribing, and sharing. And without further ado, here's the podcast. Welcome to Delightfully Dysfunctional, a podcast about navigating the emotions of the human condition and the challenges that come with it. I'm Keilani Persian Mason, a psychotherapist and life coach with James Timmons, an ever-curious human. This is not a replacement for mental health therapy. Please seek out mental health care if that's what you're needing. This is an opportunity for self-healers to dive deep and understand more about themselves. Back to Delightfully Dysfunctional. I'm Keilani, and I am here with James from Tennessee.
Yeah.
Have you changed your driver's license and everything?
No, but I have to within a month. I ordered my birth certificate because I didn't have it. But I have to get that first in order to change my license. So,
All right. It's almost official.
I know.
How are you liking it? Like,
I-
tell us some of the perks of Tennessee.
Well, I love it. I've been here 1 week and a day officially, and I've already experienced like so much life. It feels like I've been here like a couple months. I'm like already dating a gal. Her name is Autumn. Shout out. I told her today, she was like, you think you'll talk about me? I was like, well, it'd be really hard to like not. I'm just like, well, I went to Nashville with nobody. Anyway, yeah, it's beautiful. It rains a lot, but I mean, it's also spring.
Yeah.
I haven't started my job yet. I start tomorrow, so I get the Sunday scaries. But it's amazing. It's amazing. It's exactly where I'm supposed to be. Yeah, I miss you and everyone, but like,
Does it feel like
Elliot.
home?
Not yet. I mean, I still talk about the Washington State a lot, and I have to specify state here because apparently nobody realizes there's a state called Washington.
Yeah, they're gonna assume you're a DC guy.
Yeah, it is the farthest point in the lower 48 from Tennessee, though. I Googled it. And yeah, I drove 2,300 miles. And true to what I set out, I thought I drove. So I left on Wednesday a week and a half ago. It seems so much longer. But yeah, I slept in my car, which was on a trailer. I stuck a twin mattress in the back of my car and slept in Love's gas stations, and then got up and showered in the gas station, and then drove like 900 miles each day.
That's considered twin bed, actually. I bet that wasn't a terrible plan. Did it work out well?
It was great. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I had a sleeping bag and a pillow, and I was just kind of roughing it and, living life on the road. I'm a road warrior.
Oh my.
Yeah. Yeah, how have you been since the last 10 days?
No, man. Pretty much the same. And I did a couple interviews for the podcast, so there's going to be some fun stuff coming up. I'm excited. A lot of times, whether or not our wonderful listeners have known our delightful humans, a lot of the episode topics are almost picked like on the spot, and sometimes given what might be going on in James' life.
Yeah.
It's like subtly influenced. It's not every episode, but
No.
more often than not, like we're having a discussion beforehand, before recording, and then it kind of inspires an idea. So with that being said, we decided that today's episode would be about when you are starting a relationship and you're looking for the green flags.
Yeah.
How do we spot the green flags? How do we also know when it's a yellow or a red flag? But so many times I think there's so many posts and like discussion around the things that you shouldn't want in a relationship. How do we know when it's a safe relationship?
Yeah, I love it. Yeah. I am I'm an expert on red flags, I can tell you that. So, but I think I'm an expert on green flags as well, so we'll see. But
Okay, we'll
you
see.
are the expert. You're the unofficial expert. No, you're the official expert in the room.
If it's between the two of us, I'll
Yeah.
take that. We're not even in the same room, so is it just me and me? Oh
Yeah, you're
man.
definitely the expert in that room.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. For anyone who's just listening, I mean, I had mentioned it. James is in Tennessee. I am not. I'm in Washington. So I'm here in the studio. And James, we got to get you some sound paneling.
Oh, is it echoey again?
Well, no, I mean, I just think
Oh, just
any place
basic.
that, yeah, well, that too. Yeah. But no, or, yeah, maybe it can be a closet slash studio room for you.
I should really design. I have my own space now, so I can totally design it all up. I will. It'll be a lot prettier next time.
Oh, I'm excited. Okay. Yeah. Wow me. Woo
Okay,
me.
definitely.
All right. So, how do you know when it's real and when you should run? Let's talk about those green flags, which are really
Okay.
all around signs of emotional maturity and alignment. So, it shouldn't just be about, like, oh, what do we have in common? But do you feel like they're respecting your boundaries and pace? Do you feel like they're emotionally available and accountable? Do they seem closed off or open? Are they good communicators, especially when it's hard? I really feel like it's that first disagreement that couples get into as they're getting to know one another that tends to really let you know a lot about someone's character and their emotional maturity. Uh,
Yeah.
and willingness to repair after conflict, which is so important. So let's think through some of those. And I don't, what else would you add? What else would you add when it comes to green flags?
Um, I mean, one of the most valuable lessons I learned recently is from that book by Brianna Wiest, When You're Ready, This Is How You Heal. And she says the most valuable thing that you have is your energy. And you have
Mhm.
to protect your energy and like boundaries and stuff you alluded to that is definitely a way to protect your energy. But like I mean it the 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 biggest green flag I've noticed is that how yeah, just like if somebody like gives you energy and if you feel like you don't have to like be protective of it, if they respect it, yeah, just based on I mean like how your nervous system feels.
Mhm.
I don't know, but at the same time, like I feel like you have to be at a certain like level of yeah emotional maturity to where you're like your energy and your nervous system is like so finely tuned that you're not also stealing energy from yourself, you know. So yeah, energy. That short
Okay.
answer.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I think like when I was younger and thinking back to some of my previous relationships, and I think I would often think, well, they're nice to me.
Yeah.
And I think there's so much more than someone just being nice to you. Like now I would also be wanting that version of me to really consider it through this lens. Like, are they also accepting influence? Is there give and take? You know, does it how are they when it comes to like talking about their past? How open are they? Are they able to reflect and not blame?
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of hard things to pay attention to. And maybe, like, I think for some people, the tricky thing is you really get to know someone and you get to have those opportunities where you would really get a peek into how they might respond in hard situations. That's
Yeah.
not happening usually in the beginning. That's usually down the road in a relationship.
Right. Yeah, when you take each other for granted and you're like, you know, yeah, yeah, I agree with you. But I
Um,
haven't taken my Adderall for like several days because I'm trying to stockpile for my job. So
uh, d- James, don't share your medicinal maltreatment.
Oh shoot. I'm not supposed to do that, am I?
Yes, yeah. Edit that part out.
Okay, I will. I will.
Oh, my foot's falling asleep. Now I'm short. Hold on. I gotta switch legs. But I'm. Oh,
Go get
my
go get go get like a phone book. You have books behind you.
sit on a book. Okay. Let me make myself a booster seat. No. Dang.
Actually, I need to do something real quick. Hold on. I just realized I have a light diffuser for my giant light that can help out. Let's see here.
Yeah, this might be good here. Yeah, that was a good Jane.
It's an age-old trick.
I think I got one more I can sit on. I got 3 books.
Oh, sweet.
That's funny.
Okay, look at that. The shadow that was right here is gone now.
Oh,
And
good.
now there's not a giant light bulb blasting my face. Oh,
I'm
that's
just
so much.
sweating. Yeah, you were getting a little sweaty. I'm not gonna sleep.
Oh no.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay.
Ew.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Oh, sorry, my foot is driving me crazy. It's like pins and needles and tickles.
Oh wow.
Oh,
That sounds like a crazy night.
yeah, it's a wild ride.
Pins and needles and tickles.
Oh boy.
Sorry. Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, green flags. Well, what were some of the things that you noticed? Like, because you and
Oh,
Zach, I'm
that's a
gonna
good question.
I'm gonna turn
Yeah.
this around on you. Yeah.
Let's
So
think back.
when you first started dating Zach, you had experienced a lot of life, and you guys
Mhm.
got married fairly quickly, right?
Yeah.
Well, which is not a bad thing at all. But like,
I would have judged me if I'm being honest.
but at the same
I
time, you were
you when you know, you know.
I know when you were listening to like the right things, you were at a certain level of your emotional maturity. So, but like what would you say like were the confirmations as to like
Yeah.
where it's now this is safe to move to take it to the next level? You know what I mean?
Oh, that's a really good question. Okay. Um, it was definitely like the depth of our conversations
Yeah.
that was a big factor, especially I think having felt as though it was really challenging to find a partner who could have the kinds of conversations that I was wanting to have. He was able to really accept accountability because we had dated before. There were
Oh,
some hurts from that. And he was really able to like explain and own and sit in the discomfort of talking through that. He was incredibly supportive and he still is the most patient person that I know. Sometimes to a fault. He's just very, very patient. Um, and when we started dating again, there was this strange, I remember just like brief moments as any relationship is feeling it out and it's part of the butterflies as you're gaining trust. But there was like such a deep loyalty and trust and commitment that we both had that, I don't know. I think I see a lot of relationships where that's where some of their major conflict or tug of war of power is around those types of issues. And although we have our own sets of things that we have to navigate and stressors, that isn't one of them. Like there's always this like solid, like, I've got your back, you've got mine. And that was really apparent in the beginning too. So, um, and you know, what I don't think it was in that list necessarily, but I would also add to it, and this was something that I noticed, is like how and you kind of did too, you said energy, but like how you're prioritizing your time. Are they making you not you don't have to be someone's main priority when you start to date, but are you
yeah.
dedicating enough time to actually get to know someone?
Right.
Because if you're only able to meet up, you know, like twice a month, that's not you can't build upon that. And if we're working with the assumption that we want a relationship that we can build upon, we'd like it to keep growing and turn into something that's more committed, then that's something you'd want to see from a partner, a potential partner.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, everything you're saying, I think is like it's sparking these little thoughts because like it's going back to what we've said a million times, curious culture, where like one of the when I was on like dating apps, I would have some matches and I noticed that like some women didn't have like reciprocal conversation where I would say like, "Oh, what are your hobbies?" And they would say, "I'm into hiking, this and that." And they would answer it, and I was waiting for them to go, "How about you?" You know? And so then that's a red flag. I mean, that's just you can't really go anywhere if there's no reciprocal conversation. But like, yeah. So, but then also like, yeah, that falls into the category of curiosity. Like, but then also consideration, like prioritizing somebody.
Yeah.
Like, if it's really, it's such a like loving feeling when somebody is genuinely interested in the like your origin story and your life,
Yeah.
and then they just and you kind of feel self-conscious, like, sharing certain parts of your life, and they're like, "No,
Mhm.
like, that thank you. That's so interesting. Please tell me more." And, like, that's really I feel like those are those are things that I think if people in the dating world right now, I think a lot of them wouldn't be able to name that, but I think that when you're just, like, having an interaction with another human and you are aware of, like, that like reciprocation and curiosity, yeah,
Mhm.
then they start to like feel safe with you, and they didn't realize that was even a thing.
Yeah, which is the whole goal of dating and relationships, to
Yeah,
help someone feel safe and to feel safe yourself in the relationship.
yeah, totally. Yeah, I think that I wonder what like if we were to poll men and women like our age who are in the dating world, like what are your green flags? I bet it would be a lot of shallow stuff. Like I know men, I call it mom complex or mommy complex, where a lot of men like what they look for in women is like, I want a woman who's going to do this for me and do these things for me and make me feel this way. And it's like it's the mommy complex where they've moms like
I don't think they have a full realization of it. Like, I have a
yeah.
few of these men that you speak of, that I know of in the world, and as an observer, I just think that they are kind of autopiloting through life,
Mhm.
and maybe had a mother who took care of everything or many things for them,
Yeah.
and don't even know how to, like, really be self-sufficient.
Yeah.
So they I think they even realize the load that they're putting on their wife for her to, like, be running their lives and be mommy. Because being mommy to me is like, you're handling the responsibilities.
Yeah, or coddling. Yeah, you're like, "You are my precious boy who can do no wrong, and whatever you say, it is right." That
Oh, I was had a very different take when
I
I
mean,
was thinking,
I think that you're right also, but I mean, like
okay,
but I think that, but yeah, mommy complex is, like, this really self-absorbed, egocentric,
right,
you
like
know
the individual got that for the okay, following now, I'm following now. That
Yeah.
was like how their mother treated them.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, and so, like, they just don't even know how to take responsibility.
Right, and they
It's
they
sad.
they don't like accountability, and, like, they want a woman who's very submissive and, like,
Yeah,
won't
my mom was agreeable.
yeah. Well,
Agree, yeah.
and if there's ever, like, any disagreement in their relationship, they'll call their mom, and their mom will be like, "Oh, no, you're right, honey. You are the center of the universe."
God. Oh, God, right.
The red flag.
Oh, yeah, that's a red flag.
Yeah, that's a
Mommyism.
mom that left and neglected me. I don't have a mommy complex.
Thanks, mom.
Yeah, thanks for that, mom.
Oh, God, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's talk about the yellow flags.
Okay.
Uh, Proceed curiously. Don't panic, I would say, if these are present. Because I also feel like I also have some friends who I feel are running when there's a yellow flag. And I also feel like, you know what? People grow and change. and like give it a little bit more time to see what happens.
Yeah.
And at the same time, if you see a pattern, then you cut them loose. Then you got to be swift with it.
Yeah.
But I think that that's a delicate balance. So those yellow flags. So avoiding hard conversations or
Mm.
deflecting discomfort. What's interesting in the example you gave, there's totally are people who have some very underdeveloped like social skills. And these are examples of someone deflecting just like very light conversation, easy
Yeah.
conversation, right?
Yeah.
Um, love bombing in the early stages of the relationship.
Mm.
I think that's something that can be tricky to fall prey to, especially if you are feeling lonely and if you haven't had anyone paying that attention to you. Any passive aggressiveness or backhanded comments, talking about exes as all being crazy, I think that's also a red flag, very
Yeah.
much so. And we should talk about why in a minute too. And then
Sure.
if they don't have any close friendships or support network, that might be a reason to wonder why. I remember having an ex, and these are things I wish I would have paid attention to. They'd say things like, "Oh, I can't go there because so and so and I will get into a fight. And I can't go over there because like that's owned by so and so." Like they had so much beef out there with people. And I'm like, "What?" Like that I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a
Like, we're
very
right there by
trouble.
lure.
Yeah, yeah.
We're
What
the
does that
common
say?
denominator here.
Exactly. And so that's the same thing when someone is saying that they have these exes that are all crazy. I'm like, you're the common denominator in this situation, whether you're gravitating towards women who might have some things they're working through, or that you are stirring the pot and you are part of the crazy, which is more likely
Right.
part of the dysfunction. So when you hear any of those yellow flags, I don't know, what are yellow flags for you? Do you relate to any of those?
I mean, the thing is, like, if I were to share in the context of dating, like my past, I am full of yellow flags. So I have way more grace and curiosity. I do have caution, you know.
That's really honest, James. I just want to like commend you there. You're
Thank
like,
you.
I can see myself in some of these yellow flags. But I think
Yeah.
that there's been so much like growth that you can, being able to notice that and the path that leads to that, and you are totally not there.
Yeah, yeah, thank you. Yeah, so I mean,
If,
I
if
think
I mean, if Autumn's listening, if Autumn's
she probably will, because now I'm gonna tell her, like, we mentioned you a few times, and she's, who wouldn't listen to a podcast that they're in, they're the
Yeah.
topic. Anyway, but yeah, no, I think that because I mean, like, you if you approach, if you see like these yellow flags and then judge somebody on it, then well, that's a red flag that you're presenting. But then, because like you could really miss out on like a really amazing person who is, who has experienced like a lot of resilience if you just are more curious, But sorry, your question was what are some yellow flags?
Yeah, I mean, but I hear you. I mean, I think that what I said, and what are your thoughts? And so I
Yeah,
think that you having said, well, you see some of yourself in the yellow flags, and what you're sharing now is kind of communicating, you know, I'm a quality person, and sometimes you just go through some stuff and you're in a hard moment, and that's not who you are forever. And I think that that is very true. And that's why when it's a yellow flag, it's like proceed curiously. Don't panic
yeah.
and run, but
Cautiously, curiously. Yeah,
cautiously, curiously, right? But then you want to check in. Is that a pattern or is that just a moment?
yeah,
And I think that that's really the key thing. When it becomes a pattern, that's when I think harder conversations or stronger boundaries need to be made.
totally.
But I again, and none of these to me would right upon noticing them, again, like if it's a moment, would give me a reason to want to run for the hills, but I'd definitely be paying attention.
For sure. Yeah.
So red flags. Oh
Yeah.
gosh. You guys, I already know that I have proceeded with abandon when there've been red flags. So it's gonna be like a bingo game. Okay, so warning signs for unhealthy or unsafe dynamics. Controlling or jealous behavior, dismisses or belittles your feelings, violates boundaries, emotional, physical, time related. gaslighting and manipulation,
Mhm.
lacks empathy or accountability, rushes intensity by bypassing true intimacy. So I think it's really important in these cases. This, again, you want to be looking for a pattern, but some of these are pretty clear. If someone is belittling you, if you're already noticing controlling or jealous behavior, violation of boundaries, when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time.
For sure.
Like these are behaviors that are more concerning, especially with continued involvement with that type of a person.
Yeah. Yeah, you just listed off, like, some big ones.
Baddies. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, then the thing that, we've talked about in the past is, how like, familiarity feels like safety.
Right.
But because, like, people, the devil that that you mentioned, like, how people will go, they're almost attracted to the same red flags in relationships just because, like, yeah, that's the
It's very unconscious, and if we're getting
yeah.
like psychoanalytic with it, whatever kind of trauma or neglect or absence of support that you experienced in childhood, one might say that your unconscious mind is trying to seek out situations that are similar in order to recreate them and try to overcome that challenge.
Yeah.
So, someone who had a really narcissistic mother and a very like helplessness victim mindset, they might find themselves in relationships always trying to rescue someone who has a
Yeah.
victim mindset. Or, yeah, someone who had an absent father. They might tolerate a relationship with a partner who's very dismissive, avoidant, and never really is wanting that secure bond with someone. So,
Yeah.
it really I think it's funny that it's a strange concept to think about for some people. Many people do understand, but there's a lot of people who still say like disparaging things about the field of psychology and understanding each person, but we should look at the trail and be curious about ourselves. Like, why do I fall into that pattern? What is it about
Yeah.
these men or women that is attracting to me? And in all of these cases, most people would say, I just don't feel like I'm worthy. I don't feel like I deserve a healthy relationship. But then what they keep seeking out is not something that they're wanting and that is at all nourishing to them either.
Absolutely, yeah. We should come up with a term for that because you know that somebody who's colorblind, they can't tell the difference between red and green.
Yeah.
So we'll call these the colorblind flags. The
Yeah.
patterns that you yourself fall into that didn't ever turn out to be a good thing in a relationship. Like for me, one thing I identified recently was that I wanted to feel like just like a obsession or like attachment, like codependency. I wanted to feel that early in a relationship, and I was like, if that's that's because like I've experienced that in past relationships. Those relationships flamed out immediately, and like usually one of us like cheated on the other or something, and then I realized, okay, no, that's not a healthy green flag. That's a colorblind flag that I have. That's something that, like, was a familiarity or like yeah, a devil that I knew, but it
I like
wasn't.
this term, colorblind flag, like towards like some, yeah, because I would also, this is a frustration of mine too. I'm just like venting all my frustrations
Yeah.
today. Another frustration with folks that I've got is that there is a lot of blaming of the
Yeah.
other person versus what was it about you that chose that relationship? And how can you be accountable for why you landed yourself in this relationship? And that sounds really like victim blaming, maybe like why you landed yourself.
Aw.
Certainly, this is a very general statement I'm making. It wouldn't apply to all situations, like one that might become violent and doesn't have, like I'm not making a statement that that's widespread, but I do think that when someone stays in a relationship can past the expiration date, you need to be asking yourself those questions because that's how you're going to gain deeper insight and not feel stuck.
Right,
Not
yeah.
like feel like you have some answers that are just genuinely guiding you from your intuition, from yourself.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, like, And a lot of those colorblind flags usually come from some unhealed wound that you've been
Right.
running from that you're using other people to like as band-aid. So then if you really like focus and take off like and change your lens, then you start to look inwardly and go, okay, I need to allow healing so that I don't fall into these same traps, you know? But what would you say were some of your colorblind flags?
Oh, that's a great one.
Or one, you know?
Um, because I didn't have very present, father figures, I just when people would just, like, pay attention to me and be nice to me, I'd be like,
Yeah.
"That's enough."
Yeah.
And so then I wasn't noticing that maybe there were times that they weren't being completely honest or truthful, or that, they weren't being accountable, or they
Yeah.
would get more defensive. Like, I was like, "Well, but they're here, but they wanna be here." And that
Mm.
sounds so sad, but,
Oh,
I
I
think
understand it. Yeah.
yeah, and then once I really think it's coming from that place of self-love we've really talked so much about, but that's where it has to come from, and
Mhm.
it's a difficult thing, but when you really develop and tune into yourself so that you care about yourself and you care about, the patterns you're recreating, it really shifts things. You start
Yeah.
to see you have a different perspective where, gosh, I wanna live authentically. I wanna feel more aligned with my intuition. I wanna feel like I'm like, the nourishment and the love and the care that I'm giving has a reciprocity back. And you take some different steps. But that's hard to do. And I do think some tips for really trying to ground yourself is staying connected to your body and your intuition. Like, my body was giving me signs and signals that when it wasn't a healthy relationship, and I wish I would have paid attention to that more.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's key with like your yeah, your energy, protecting your energy. Cause like if your body is telling you something, like giving you, you know, red flags when you thought you were having green flags, then that's you have to honor your nervous system in that regard.
Yeah, and I think with a lot of people who had any kind of childhood trauma, there can be oftentimes kind of this, I don't like, fantastical thinking and this hope for everything to turn out okay,
Mm.
because there's those parts of us that kind of get frozen in time and these, like, childhood moments in our history, and I'm speaking to parts work if that's not something people are familiar with, but we really need to not don't override discomfort for fantasy, or don't, like, confuse infatuation with compatibility. Like, really trying to take it slow as you're getting to know someone.
Yeah. This has been
Yeah.
great.
Okay, we're giving you some good tips. Okay, here's my another tip.
Okay. Okay.
Like, we're doing this right now, actually, so it's so funny. Talk with trusted friends or therapists about what you're seeing. Talk about your relationship and, like, the things you're noticing, because a real friend, if you are having those red flags and you're mentioning that it's happened more than once, are gonna be concerned. And if you notice that you are too nervous to talk to your friends and hear their honest reactions because you know they'll be honest with you, then that is a red flag and some color blindness that you should
Yeah.
pay attention to. Like, what is it that you're afraid they're going to say?
Right. Yeah, it's funny because yeah, in those situations, like you know the truth, and like usually if you're afraid they're gonna bring something up that's plainly obvious, it's like, yeah, but yeah, you're not, you're running from reality, so that's a good point.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, this is common too. I feel like sometimes I'm like, oh man, I look back and there's some relationships I wish I would have tapped out of sooner, clearly. But 1 in 3 individuals say that they've stayed in a relationship longer than they wanted to for fear of being alone or being lonely. And I think that it's just far more common. And I'd also another statistic that we should pay attention to is that 63% of people who ignored early red flags later regretted continuing the relationship. So, really taking your time to get to know someone is important because intensity isn't the same thing as intimacy. And it
Mm.
takes a little bit of time to feel that out.
Yeah, see, that
So,
was my colorblind flag. What you just said. Intensity is
yeah,
appreciating.
intensity. Yeah, yeah. So here's some other little things that I think would be really helpful. And I've mentioned this on the podcast. I tell my clients a lot too. Writing your own list of non-negotiables and green flags. So I often say, like, what are your green flags, your like must-have things that you want in a relationship or the positive qualities? What are the red flags, the things you definitely don't want? And then I often say, like, what are the bonuses? Which sounds kind of funny, but like one for me was like, if they're a musician, that's a bonus. That's cool. And that I got one of my bonus
Yeah.
lists. But I think that first category should be things like honest, trustworthy, kind, able to talk through their problems, able to, hardworking, whatever it is, those core qualities that are important to you. What are like maybe your top three green flags? What are the
Oh,
top three qualities?
I mean, I've said it till I'm blue in the face. But yeah, curiosity, kindness, compassion. I have more than three. Um, Consideration, best friendness. That's a huge one. And yeah, accountability. Um, I mean, yeah, I think okay, let me boil it down here. Sorry, because now that I'm listing them all out, I think my top three are curiosity, best friendness, and consideration.
Mm, I like that. What does consideration mean to you? What
Well,
does
like
that
that.
look like?
Well, like that reciprocal love and respect. You know, where yeah, because I've dated girls in the past where they will hang out one day with me and then like cancel plans with me, 5 or 6 times for a couple weeks, and then I'm just like, this is not how I want to feel, like obvious
Yeah.
obviously I'm not being considered, like I'm a low priority. That doesn't feel good. And so but yeah, when somebody is considerate of you, then yeah, they
Yeah, they're
prioritize
considerate
you.
of their time. Right, right. I also think that that's a good way to sniff out people who have that emotional maturity to have a hard conversation.
Yeah,
Because it sounds like there was a lot of like avoidance, and that's low maturity.
right. And one thing I should just a pro tip, if you want to have a hard conversation, you can use Chat GPT. And there's nothing wrong with sending a long text or an email for a hard conversation, just as long as you say it.
I mean, as long as whatever is there, you are editing to make sure it is the way that you are feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, that it's like truly like, oh, this helped me as a tool to
Yeah.
find the words, but this is describing how I'm feeling. Because I do think that there are a lot of people, I mean, that's part of being a therapist, is just giving people a reflection of part of something they feel or experience internally that they couldn't put into words is
Yeah.
really healing. It's like, yes, that's the thing. I couldn't like explain it. So when you use it as a tool, yeah, go have those hard conversations. You got this. You can do it. We're
Yeah.
rooting, we're cheering for you. You do it.
Yeah. Or if you need us to make the phone call, we can do it. We should have a spin-off where we call people and have hard conversations with them and get their
Do
reaction.
we wait, are we having the hard conversation for them? Are
Yeah.
they like, hey, Keilani and James, I really want you to set a boundary with my mother-in-law.
Yeah.
Here's her name and
Oh my
number.
gosh. Could you imagine how entertaining that would be though? And I would say, "Hey, Brenda, your
Okay,
daughter."
I'm gonna be Brenda.
Okay, okay. Okay,
Okay,
so the what's the
okay,
premise?
okay. Um, what's the boundary? The
It's like
boundary is, yeah,
Brenda has been trying to overstep the parenting, she's
yeah,
been undermining like the husband's.
And Brenda's calling her son over. It's that kind of relationship,
Oh, the
James.
mommy
Yeah.
compliment.
Yeah. Does it work in this scenario? Yeah. The son is like, you know what, mom, you need to back off. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
But
we're changing it. So Brenda is
yeah.
now the mom of this of the
Yeah, let's
husband.
do that.
He's
Yeah.
being a man and and sticking up for
But
his wife.
he's pussyfooting around it, and that's why he called us.
Okay. So then I would.
You
Okay.
story.
Okay. So
Okay, find your name, put in character. I'm gonna be Brenda. What's your name? So
I'll be Samson.
okay. Okay. Give me a call when you're ready.
Okay. Hi, is this Brenda?
Oh, hi. Hello. Yeah, this is she. This is Brenda.
Hi, Brenda. I'm James. This is
Hi, James.
I'm calling with the Delightfully Dysfunctional. I'm here with Keilani, my co-host.
Telemarketer.
No,
Are you
no, no, we're a
no?
podcast, but we have this special
Oh.
called uh Hard Conversations with
Oh,
Delightfully Dysfunctional. So your son, Samson,
my son. You know,
yeah, he asked us to call you, and he asked us to have a hard conversation with you. Are you ready?
I just can't imagine why my Sammy wouldn't want to talk to me,
Do
but
I detect an
yeah.
accent?
You know it, James.
Which part of the US are you from, Brenda?
The U.S. from northern Minnesota.
Oh my gosh, Kayla from northern Minnesota. Are you anywhere near Red Lake Falls?
No.
Oh my,
Sorry.
you're from Red Lake Falls. What a small world. So then,
Yeah.
anyway, I'm sorry, I digress. Samson wanted us to tell you that it's his he doesn't want he wants to honor his wife and allow her to have the final say in all things parenting their children.
No.
And
This doesn't sound like my Sammy, James.
well, I
No.
mean, he talks to us, so I just want to let you know that he's
Did Lisa put you up to this? Was it Susan? Was it
Well,
Mark? Who was it?
Martha.
You, James. You.
It was Samson, your son. Okay, hold on, time out. This is where I would need your help. I would need, yeah, and we didn't craft out the whole background completely. So I'm like, I don't know. What did let's see. What did Samson tell me?
Honey.
Let's see how that we could do that. That would be fun.
Well, okay. But are you saying I have to do the heavy lifting?
No. We would tag team it.
Okay, you're gonna soften him up, and then I'm gonna like.
Yeah, I'll give him. Yeah, we'll kind of jab, and then you'll come in with the psychological knockout punch.
Well, we're not advertising this service yet. We're still working it out.
But
We're
comment if you want us to take one on for you.
if you think this would be a good idea. If you have a hard conversation for us, give us a little description. A little descript.
There's a guy on TikTok who has a whole business called like something, I can't remember his name, but he breaks bad news. People call him to break bad news, and he does it, and he films it, and it's so entertaining. Yeah.
There's just so many people having a therapist contact their dysfunctional parent. Oh my gosh, it is funny. I just don't think I don't know. Okay, we're workshopping this, but anyways, James, I'm so glad that you're enjoying Tennessee.
Yeah, thank you.
You're starting to feel settled.
Yeah, I start my job tomorrow. I'm dating a gal. I've seen Broadway on Thursday night, by the way, for those of you visiting Nashville. That is magical, you know. So when you and Zach inevitably come visit Nashville, we're going out on a Thursday night. I'm serious, like it's magical.
It's hopping. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it. And maybe we should shout out if there's any delightful humans in the Nashville area. Maybe you should hit James up.
Yeah.
If you're cool people.
Yeah,
Are you
don't.
cool people?
If you're a dork, just don't hit me up. You know.
That doesn't sound like our delightful humans. So
I'll treat that as a yellow flag. If you're kind of dorky, I'll be curious but cautious.
oh gosh. Oh my gosh. Looking for those green flags. Keep watching out for when there's any yellows or reds. But Delightful humans, thank you so much for joining us for this episode, our first one where James and I are meeting from different locations.
Yeah.
And I'd say we did it. I think we did it.
We did.
Yay us. Yay us. Well, continue to like, subscribe, and share Delightful Humans. If you would like any of my freebies, including journaling prompts and a free guided meditation, you can go to coachkeilani.com. You can also find us on Instagram at DelightfulPod and at Keilani_evolve. And we are so grateful for you. Thank you for being along for the ride. And if you have any other ideas for upcoming episodes, let us know down in the comments. Is there anything else that you want to share?
No, this has been great. I love this conversation. And it's so good
All
to talk
right.
to you. Yeah.
It's so good. It's so much fun. Thank you so much, Delightful Humans. We'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.